You did it again. Something happened weeks ago, maybe months, and your mind just pulled it back up without warning. A conversation that ended badly, a decision you wish you had made differently, a moment you cannot undo no matter how many times you replay it. And there you are, lying awake at 2 in the morning, running the same scene on a loop. You are not broken, you are not weak, you are doing exactly what your brain was designed to do. And that design is far older and far stranger than you have ever been told. Here is the thing nobody tells you. Your brain is not living in the present moment. It is constantly time traveling. Right now, as you listen to these words, roughly half of your waking thought is not focused on what is in front of you. A landmark study by Matthew Killingsworth and Daniel Gilbert at Harvard tracked thousands of people in real time using a smartphone app. They found that the human mind wanders away from the present, back into the past, forward into imagined futures, nearly 47% of the time. Not when you are bored, not when you are tired, almost half of every waking hour of your life. And here is the part that should stop you cold. Killingsworth and Gilbert found that a wandering mind is an unhappy mind. When people were thinking about something other than what they were doing, they reported feeling worse. It did not matter whether the thought was pleasant or neutral or painful. Drifting away from the present moment made people feel worse every single time. So why does your brain keep doing it? The answer requires you to go back, not weeks, not years, millions of years. Your ancestors did not live in a world with calendars, alarm clocks, or second chances. They lived in a world where a single mistake could end everything. Miss the signs of a predator once, you do not get to miss them twice. Misjudge a member of your social group, you risk exile, and exile in the ancient world was often a death sentence. Make the wrong call at the wrong moment, your genetic line stops right there. In that world, forgetting your mistakes was not a virtue, it was a fatal flaw. So evolution did something ruthless. It built a brain that will not let you forget. A brain that replays failure on a loop because, in the ancestral environment, replaying failure was how you survived it the next time. Your rumination, the thing that keeps you up at night, the thing that floods your chest with dread when you are standing in the shower doing nothing at all, that is not a malfunction. That is the system working exactly as it was built. Neuroscientist Jacques Panksepp spent decades mapping the emotional architecture of the mammalian brain. He identified a system he called panic, the same circuitry that fires when an infant is separated from its mother, when a small mammal is left alone in the wild, and when you lie awake replaying a moment of social rejection. Your brain does not know the difference between a lost connection in 2024 and a lost connection on the savannah 2 million years ago. It treats them both as survival-level emergencies. That is why a text message left on read can keep you up all night. That is why a casual remark from a coworker can echo in your head for 3 weeks. Your brain is not overreacting. It is running ancient software on a modern problem. The software was never updated because, for most of human history, it did not need to be. But here is where it gets even stranger. The brain does not just replay the past, it rewrites it. Memory researcher Elizabeth Loftus spent her career demonstrating something that should fundamentally change how you think about your own history. Memory is not a recording. It is a reconstruction. Every single time you pull up a memory, you are not watching a playback. You are rebuilding the scene from fragments, and the reconstruction is influenced by your current emotional state, by what you have learned since, by the story you already believe about yourself. You are, in a very real sense, editing the footage every time you watch it. This means the version of the past you keep torturing yourself with is not even accurate. It is a remix, a version shaped by who you are today, filtered through what you are afraid of today, colored by the anxiety or shame or regret you feel today. The past you cannot let go of is not the past that actually happened. It is a story your brain keeps rewriting to match its current fears. Think about that for a moment. The reason this matters is not just philosophical, it is practical, because once you understand what your brain is actually doing, the loop starts to lose some of its power. Your brain replays the past for one of 3 reasons. The first is threat detection. It is scanning the memory for what went wrong so you can avoid the same outcome again. This is useful up to a point. If you extract the lesson and update your behavior, the brain should release the memory. The problem is that modern threats rarely have clear lessons. Social dynamics are ambiguous. Emotional pain does not come with a simple corrective action. So the brain keeps scanning, keeps replaying, keeps looking for the lesson it cannot find, because the lesson does not exist in the form it is looking for. The second reason is identity maintenance. Your brain is constantly running a background process asking a single question: who am I? Past events, especially the painful ones, become anchor points in your self-story. The argument you lost, the opportunity you did not take, the relationship that ended. They feel important not just because they hurt, but because your brain has used them to build its understanding of who you are and what you are capable of. Releasing them feels, in some strange way, like losing a piece of yourself. The third reason is the most surprising. Psychologist Roy Baumeister and his colleagues found that bad events have a stronger and longer-lasting psychological impact than equally good events, a phenomenon he called the negativity bias. Your brain is not a balanced recorder. It weights negative experiences more heavily, stores them more vividly, and retrieves them more easily. One bad interaction can outweigh 5 good ones. One failure can overshadow a dozen successes. This is not pessimism. It is architecture. A brain that ignores danger signals does not survive. A brain that ignores good news does. So there you have it. You are walking around with a machine in your skull that was built to hunt for threats, rewrite history, anchor your identity in pain, and weight bad news more heavily than good. You did not choose this. You inherited it from every ancestor who survived long enough to become your ancestor. And yet here is the part that matters most. Awareness changes things. The moment you recognize what your brain is doing, the moment you can step back and say, this is threat detection, this is identity maintenance, this is negativity bias running its ancient program, the loop weakens, not because the thoughts stop. They will not stop. The hardware is not going anywhere, but because you are no longer inside the loop. You are watching it. Mindfulness researcher John Kabat-Zinn spent decades building evidence for this exact mechanism. When people learn to observe their thoughts without fusing with them, when they develop what he calls present moment awareness, the grip of rumination loosens, not because the past changes. It does not, but because the observer is no longer the same as the thought. You are not your memories. You are not the story your brain keeps rewriting. You are the one who notices the story being told. Tonight, when a memory surfaces without warning and pulls you backward, pause before you follow it. Ask what the brain is scanning for. Ask whether there is a lesson or whether the scanning itself has become the habit. You might find that the past loses a little of its grip when you stop running from it and start watching it instead. Because here is the strange and final truth. The mind that cannot stop thinking about the past is the same mind that kept your ancestors alive long enough to build fire, form language, and fill the world with their descendants. The same ancient loop that exhausts you is the one that made you possible. You are not haunted by the past, you are built from it.